Hi, it's Erin from Book Things and Baubles, and today I wanted to talk to you about 10 things I think everyone should keep on hand who own a Glowforge. So number one is tape. I use tape all of the time, everything from Scotch tape, masking tape, to duct tape. You're going to be grateful to have tape. Especially duct tape, I have found that using that right after a print to get off like little teeny pieces of tape if you're doing something really intricate is a lifesaver and a time saver. And then it just comes in handy if you're picking things up out of the Glowforge. I make a little almost glove out of duct tape and you can just pick things up with that. Some people use a shop vac. I don't have a shop vac, so I use tape for that. So it's really nice to have on hand. You can also use it to keep things from moving around in there if you're engraving on something. So tape is something everybody needs. Number two is rubbing alcohol. So I've found that rubbing alcohol is really effective for taking stains off of wood. So that's why I suggest everyone who works with wood and has a Glowforge keeps rubbing alcohol on hand. You can use that to get rid of smoke stains and some of the burn stains. I also like to go around the edges of my projects where the laser has cut, if it's wood, with the rubbing alcohol, because that can, number one, take off some of that burnt wood smell, which some people like, but it can get old. But it also takes off a lot of that smoke and that burn, which will make your fingers sticky and make it look like you smoke like 12 packs a day because they turn yellow. And so it kind of gets rid of all that. So keep rubbing alcohol on hand. Number three is a water bottle. So this is kind of common sense if you've looked into a Glowforge. It's a laser, right? It burns things. And so there's always a fire risk. I, knock on wood, have not had any problems with fire in the Glowforge. I've had a couple, like maybe close calls, just times when my masking wasn't stuck on the wood as well as it should have been. So when it was in the bed with the fan blowing and the laser going, there were little teeny pieces of masking that were like flipping up, and if any of those caught in the laser, they could have caught on fire, right? So I stopped the project, but there's always a fire risk when you're working with a laser. So keeping your eye on the Glowforge, which is what they suggest, is the number one way to like prevent fires, and also having that water bottle on hand. So if there is a fire, you just have that water on hand that you can hurry and put it out and spray it. Most of the time, just having like a damp cloth. So I have a cloth and then I have my water bottle. So before a project, I'll just spray down my cloth and have a damp cloth on hand while I'm printing on the Glowforge, so that if I need to, I can just hurry and open it up and put any fires out if that ever does happen. But have a water bottle on hand. It can also help keeping your fingers free from that smoke and stickiness that I was talking about earlier too. And that brings us to our number four item, which is a hand towel. So the water bottle and the hand towel kind of go hand in hand, but the hand towel can be used for a lot of things. It can be used with the rubbing alcohol, and it can also be used with the water to put out fires, to get rid of smoke stains. So just having a towel on hand, super, super important. And then number five is carbon air purifiers. So one of the most surprising things for me when I got my Glowforge was really like how smoky it was and it seemed. I think part of it was I didn't have the hose on as tight as I could, and I got that fixed, and that's helped a lot, but there's still a lot of smoky smells. If you do acrylic is really stinky when you're cutting big projects. Little projects, not so much, but big projects of acrylic, smoke, and just there's a lot of smells that come with having a Glowforge. And my basement where I have my Glowforge permanently smells like a campfire now, which some people like, but a lot of times it's the masking tape that gets burned that gets really stinky with the Glowforge. So what I do is I have these little carbon air purifiers that I got off of Amazon. I think it was like a 14 or 12 pack or something like that for $20 something. I'll link it down below if you're interested, but these are carbon packs. You charge them in the sun for like 2 hours, and then they're really good at picking up smells. So I will toss one of these in the Glowforge after I print a project, and then I also toss it in my bins where I keep my scrap wood and my little pieces of wood and acrylic and things that I've salvaged and saved. And that really helps absorb a lot of the smell. Not all of it, but it absorbs a good amount of the smell. So that's a good purchase, especially if you can't afford the $200 Glowforge filter. These are a good way to go. And then number 6 is tweezers. Tweezers are so handy with the Glowforge. I bought little tweezers with a jewelry kit because I make some jewelry on my Glowforge, and I use those all the time to either pick up pieces out of the bed if I don't want to move the entire bed, especially little pieces that go down into the honeycomb to get out. I'll use my little tweezers for those. They're also really good if you have teeny pieces that break off that you need to glue on to help you place those and not break anything else. So just having tweezers if you're working with little tiny pieces is super, super important. I tend to have kind of big hands and big fingers, and sometimes I just can't grasp those little things. So having tweezers has really helped me out, and I suggest everybody has those. And then number 7 is a duster. So the top of my Glowforge gets super dusty because it's in the basement, and inside of the Glowforge gets dusty. So having a duster on hand is a really good thing. And then number 8 is goggles. So I didn't quite believe people who were like, yeah, you need to buy goggles for your Glowforge, because I bought the goggles, and then, doing my first few prints, I was like, oh, my eyes are fine for this. But then I started printing on tile and glass, and those get super, super bright, and you will damage your eyes. So having those goggles on hand, especially if you're printing on something new and you don't know how it will go, or if you have little kids like around your Glowforge who want to look, protect your eyes, protect their eyes, and have goggles on hand for those occasions. And then number 9 is a fire extinguisher. Like I said before, with the Glowforge, it's a laser, so there is a fire hazard. I haven't had issues with that, but I know people who have. So watch your Glowforge like a hawk. Have your water and your damp towel ready. But if there is a larger fire in your Glowforge that a damp towel is not going to put out, you'll want to have a fire extinguisher. So this is the fire extinguisher I have. It's open, but I've never used it. And I got this from Home Depot, and it's safe. I'm pretty sure it's safe with electronics, which you want for the Glowforge. But if it comes to the point that you have to use your fire extinguisher, you are going to have some damage to your Glowforge that you'll need to fix and repair. So best advice is to not have a fire start in your Glowforge. Double check settings, check on the forums to make sure that the settings are right so that you don't have to deal with having a fire. So I've never had to use my fire extinguisher, but you definitely want to have one on hand just in case. Your safety, the safety of your house, is way more important than your Glowforge. So even though we don't ever want to have to use it, keep a fire extinguisher on hand and be ready, be vigilant just in case. So those are my 10 things I think everyone should have on hand who own a Glowforge. Do you have anything else that you would add to the list? Please leave it in the comments. And then if you have any other comments or questions about the Glowforge, I will do my best to answer them. I'm not an expert, but I will do my best to answer your questions or help direct you to good sources of information that I found. And if you are interested in purchasing a Glowforge, I would really appreciate it if you would consider using my link. You get a discount off of your Glowforge purchase, and I also get credits that really help me out. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.